What up, what up, what up? How's it going out there? All right. Yeah, there I am. That's me. Um, Hope everybody had a great weekend. Good morning, Alex. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for checking in. 8 Push Green Live, right? Hopefully you guys are having a great day so far, even though it just started. Maybe you just got out of bed. I don't know. Maybe you did it. Maybe you've been up for a long time. I don't know. Morning, Tamara. All right, let's get it started. Thank you guys for joining in on a beautiful Monday morning. Had some crazy weather over the weekend. Yesterday there was hail up here. I don't know if you guys had it down there. I mean, like little tiny pieces of I don't know what size. Maybe like a small grape or I don't know, about that size. But hail, like everywhere. It's crazy. It was nuts. So, all right, let's get this thing started, man. I posted a couple things last night and this morning. You need to make sure that you look at stuff on Google Classroom. I don't want to have to. You should be checking that to figure out what you need to do for the week. Okay. I need to turn off my cell phone. Getting blown up. There's some teacher conversations about things that we're gonna go over with in a second here. Yeah. So, let me make this thing smaller. Sorry about that. Oh, that's not the right one. Right. That's the right one. There we go. And we'll do about there and see how that works. Yeah, so I'm gonna turn this down. This is in my head too much. Good morning, Avika. Good morning. I don't think they were golf ball size. They weren't that big. That would be, oh my god, that would be dense in everybody's car. No, they were like maybe double pea size. Twice the size of a pea. A green pea. So your assignment in Google Classroom, that's a Unit 4 DBQ under Optional Student Practice, just like where you got the Unit 7 one, except you're just doing a DBQ worksheet, okay? You're just going to work it up, print off one of the worksheets. If you have a printer, I would just print the PDF version of it, and then you'll fill it out, and then upload it on the Google form. And if you don't have a printer, then you can download the Word document and write in the Word document, okay? Or if you have a PDF, if you have Adobe program that you can write in the PDF, that's even easier because then it doesn't move around on you. You can just write in it, right? You can type in it. I know Julia did that, right? And that will be due on Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. There is no date after that. This should not take you a long time. You have 3 days to do it. I will not accept it after 9:30 p.m. So just figure it out as a practice for your AP exam. You have to be on. You have to be ready. You have to do it. There's no, I didn't have this work. Do it today. Do it tomorrow. Right? You have 3 days. If you're waiting until 9 o'clock on Wednesday to do it, I don't care. Do it before then. So that's when it needs to be completed, is at 9:30 p.m. Right? So you can do it right after this and just get it done, and you don't have anything to do for 2 days except tune in every morning at 9:30 for this awesomeness. Right? That's all you got to do. It's easy. Easy peasy chicken greasy, right? DBQs from last week, I will be grading them today and tomorrow. I graded a number of them already. And we'll get those in. So, yeah. Yeah, this is you can't shoot me. Don't shoot the messenger. But apparently, gotta take the car to the shop. Okay. You guys will have to take an EOC, your EOCs, whichever ones you have, and I know you have one for me, for history, in September. Just fill out the notes. You don't have to write it. You're just filling out the notes. I mean, should you write it? Yes. Right? It's practice for you. I would write it. That video and notes that I printed up that I sent out yesterday. That looks like, where did I do it? Where he goes over Heimler goes over a perfect score DBQ with against like a passing. It looks like this. Yeah, looks like this, and he gives you what a perfect score looks like, what a passing score looks like, and then what a failing score looks like. Yeah, sorry, I got off on a tangent with that. But yeah, with the EOC thing, it's not what they said, right? I don't know. I can't. I don't know. It was quite a shock to me because what they said, if you look up Google, statewide tests, it says they're canceled. It doesn't say the seniors don't have to take them. Yeah, me either, Victoria. I get it. I that's what I was talking with a bunch of teachers, a bunch of my friend teachers. That's I don't know who made that decision. I think it's from the state, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, you're going to have to take those when you come back in August. And so they're going to have like review sessions for it. I mean, you guys should be fine. It's, they're not hard. At least the history one isn't. So, but it's annoying because that's not what they said, right? They said they were canceled, but they're only canceled for the seniors. So I'm not in the class anymore. I don't have the info. Yeah, no, I understand. I understand what you're saying. It's crazy. It doesn't make sense. This is what like all these oh, this is somebody else. Oh, somebody tell me what they're drinking. That sounds horrible. What they were drinking. So yeah, it's not what they said, but I can't do anything about it. So your exam is in 18 days, right? So that's what I'm saying for the assignment that I'm giving you due on Wednesday. That's just a DBQ worksheet, right? That's just I have one right here. Yeah, there it is. So I need 2 webcams. One that can show like put down on the like vertical, and then I can switch between. So it's that filled out, uploaded. Okay. Should you write the DBQ? Yes, you should. Right? It's practice. That's all. I mean, you guys know how much work you guys were doing during the year, and I'm not giving you that much work. Okay. So you should be using this time to review your note cards, because you're saying to yourself, if you're saying to yourself, I'm going to look everything up when I get the question on May 15th at 2 p.m. No, you're not. You're not going to have time to look everything up, relate it to the documents, read the documents, and write the essay. You're not going to have enough time. Now, what I can say is you should definitely be keeping your note cards, okay, categorized. All right, I would do it by period, so that way the day of your exam, you can have them sitting there. Because if you look at that video I posted last night, the guy who wrote, who grades, crazy amounts of DBQs, wrote a perfect essay, And the amount of vocab words in there was just stupendous. It was awesome. So if you can put vocab words in there, it's going to help you bring up and maybe even get that complexity point, right? If you're trying to get a high score, you're trying to get a 4 or 5. Remember, if you get a 4 or 5, you can get a lot of credit. A lot of colleges will give you, the two U.S. history since 1877 and U.S. history to 1877. So, it's up to you guys how much work you want to put in. I mean, passing, I think you can do it. You can get a passing grade if you practice and you study and all that stuff. But again, you have to study the history. You need to know it off the top of your head, or at least have an idea, and then maybe look at your note cards from that period and then say, okay, boom, 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 here you go, that's that, and relate to them. But if you don't know what those words mean, okay, think of how much more studying you would have to do if you couldn't have anything with you, right? You get to have anything. You get to have everything with you. So, exam is in 18 days. Prepare accordingly. Remember 226 days when it was up on the board in the classroom, right? We're down to 18. Crazy. All right. Those DBQ videos, make sure you're watching those. All of those, I've watched them multiple times, right? Because, again, I'm learning how to do all of this exactly the way that College Board is doing it. I'm watching all the College Board videos that they're putting on. So you should be too. These are all things that you could be doing to help improve your grade and help you prepare yourself for the exam. Okay? Because as long as you do the work for me, right, you're going to get an A or a B. You're fine. You're going to be good. Okay? Yeah. My phone's blowing up over there. I think it's the other teachers. But okay, let's keep going. But make sure you check Google Classroom, right? Because I'm putting stuff in the stream, the announcements. You need to go through there and make sure you're doing everything that's on there and you're looking at all those videos. And, you have that assignment that's due on Wednesday. So make sure you get on and you do that one. All right? So, on to the notes. Let's make sure I got this as big as possible here. I think I can make it a little bigger for you. There you go. Jacksonian democracy. Avon's boy, Jackson, right? So he is a member of the common man, universal male suffrage. Okay, the things that Jackson does for the American people. This is still too loud in my ear. The things that Jackson does for the American people. Remember, he's about for the common man. He's about for everybody the same. You know what I'm saying? White male, right? The same. But they definitely have universal suffrage. No, you can. I mean, this is a term. Jacksonian democracy is a term. We've talked about it in class. Like, it's a big deal. But yes, I understand what you're saying, Mitchell. But yes, it is. There's a lot of things he did. And so, that's what we're going to talk about, the good and the bad that he did. And yes, there was also obviously a lot of bad, and I've made my opinion clear on that one. Remember on the A on the board, somebody on the bottom, I forgot who it was. Somebody put in for the 8-push wall, put Andrew Jackson jeweled. Oh, that's funny. So this is what he wanted, okay? And he's one of the first to have the party nominating conventions. It was a free soul. Yeah. And South Carolina was the only state to have legislature choose their electoral college. Everybody else was popular elections of electoral college. Because remember, electoral college is who votes in the president. Oh, that was Hannah. You're right, Tara. Cracked me up. I remembered it when I was writing this document the other night. I mean, this PowerPoint, I was like, oh yeah, Andrew Jackson jeweled. And this is where you have the two-party system. And you really have to think about, the parties as we go through Andrew Jackson, okay? And the spoil system. And this was giving jobs to political supporters. So if you helped the person get to where they were going to repay you with political support, okay? Or with, not political support, with positions afterwards, all right? And Andrew Jackson loved this. He loved it. That's what he was all about. And so, if we go back through, like, all of these things really came to the forefront under Jackson, all right? So that's why, it's called Jacksonian democracy. So, yeah, I mean, the other thing on here, just make sure I get everything. Yeah, okay. So, no religious or property clauses for the state suffrage laws. So that was just, if you were a male, okay, you could vote. Obviously, white male, right? There was no universal for, I should have put white male suffrage, but I didn't. But it was not for everybody yet, okay? I'm sorry, is that good? I'm sure we're good on that one. Election of 1824. Sorry, I don't know why that did that. I didn't know. Oh, well. This election ends the era of good feelings. Remember, that started with Monroe. And you have Jackson, Adams, and Clay. They split all the votes. Remember, this is that very special election. And sorry, I got like a little stuffed, or it's not stuffed. It's just like, I don't know. Woke up a little bit. Stuffed nose, I guess. And they all split the electoral votes. So nobody had a majority, right? And so it goes to the House of Representatives. Now, Clay, being the Speaker of the House, which, government is the head of the House of Representatives, can't. He has to bow out because he can't. That's a conflict of interest. So now you're down to Adams and Jackson, okay? This is John Quincy Adams, John Adams' son, all right? And Clay and Jackson hate each other. So Clay throws his support and influence to get Adams elected. Now, I just saw that, Juliana. I mean, you shouldn't be that stressed. You know what I mean? If you do all the things that I'm telling you to do, and you put the effort into the practice, I am very, very confident everybody who does that will pass. Now, if you're not doing that, you will not pass. Okay? This is not going to be, they're not going to dumb this down so much so that everybody passes and, the pass rate for U.S. history goes to 95% and, all this. That's not going to happen. So, but I think if you practice everything that I'm telling you and you watch all the videos, you do the worksheets, and so this stuff becomes second nature to you, when the day of the exam, you're going to sit down and you're just going to go, oh, okay, here we go. I have to put all my stuff here, and you're going to know everything that you have to do, and you'll be done, and you'll be good, and you'll pass, okay? I'm not saying everybody's going to get a 5 or a 4, but you can pass if you do all the stuff that I'm telling you. It's going to happen, but you have to do it. You have to practice. You know what I mean? You can't just do the things, show up to and listen to these reviews and do the worksheet and then never give it a second thought. You're not going to pass. It's not going to happen. Okay? So don't be stressed about it. Just do the work. Just, put your head down. You only got 18 days, and then it's all done, at least for this class. I don't know when your other classes are. So you can check that one off the list. After that, we're just going to be doing some interesting stuff, some cool stuff. No, I would not recommend physically writing on that practice sheet for the 45 for the actual exam. I would definitely have it sitting there, right? Um, you can print off, the documents and stuff, so that way you could, um, you know what I mean. I would definitely, but I would not write out that worksheet. That's too much time. Okay, but I would have it sitting there as a reference sheet of like, oh, okay, remember I got to do this, I got to do that, and kind of group it that way. Okay. Um, okay. And so this, if we go back to the thing, Clay got Adams elected, right? And then he got Secretary of State. However, there was never any proof that, Adams went to Clay and was like, hey, if you get me through, I'm going to give you Secretary of State. Now, did Clay do this knowing that he probably would get whatever position he wanted? Of course. You know what I mean? Because he knew that Adams would repay him. Well, he thought he would. And Jackson would not. Jackson wouldn't have done anything for him because they hated each other. So, and that's what they called it, the corrupt bargain of 1824, in the election of 1824. Now, this really created the second political party, the Democratic National Party. And that's what I meant by Mitchell, like Jacksonian democracy. The Democratic Party was created by him. So, we will give him at least that credit, right? But take everything away with everything else he did. So I should yank him off the 20. And they started campaigning for 1828 almost immediately after this election. And they were going against, all the easy things to go against. The corrupt bargain. And it was very easy for them to get reelected because it was seen as a corrupt bargain. No matter what, they said that, we didn't have anything to do with each other beforehand. We didn't actually say anything. You still did it, so it still looks like it, no matter what you say. He did it for that reason. So I'll give you guys a second here. So really the thing with 1824 is the corrupt bargain between Clay, Adams, and Jackson. Clay has to bow out when it goes to the House of Representatives because he is the Speaker of the House. Then Clay gets Adams elected. Then Clay gets Secretary of State, which is seen as a pegboard or a springboard or whatever you want to say, not a pegboard, a springboard to the presidency. Because remember, Clay is my boy and he's trying to go for presidency. Runs 3 times, right? Now, you have the Revolution of 1828. And really, this is what swept him into office. You have this new party organization, and you have the Tariff of 1828, and then also the corrupt bargain. And everybody shows up for this election. It's a... Wait till I show you the number here. Oh, I thought I put it here. The one thing that Jackson did, you can see I put here, the role of the president, right? Because there hasn't been a lot of presidents before him, right? Because it's still pretty early, 1828. Okay, Jack. I'll see you, buddy. Yeah, good luck on that ACE exam. I know they're giving those out here. He vetoed 12 times, more than the previous 6 presidents. Okay. And 3 times the number of voters participated in 28 than 24. All right. Because, and that's a good thing, right? We've said, like everybody said, and see you, Jack. And you just want people to vote. Whether or not, who cares if their vote? See you, Alyssa. It doesn't matter who they're voting for, who you vote for. It just matters that you're voting. Okay, that's the important thing. Is if you can vote in the 2020 election, you should be registered already. So that way, when your birthday comes up, you're already in there, and you can vote. Doesn't matter who you're voting for, as long as you vote. Okay, and that's what people did in 1828. From another reasons, the tariff of 1828, and the corrupt bargain in the 1824 election. People remembered it. Okay, so the nullification crisis. So Jackson was a states' rights supporter. He was for the common man, but he was a unionist, meaning that he still really thought the country as a whole was bigger than any one individual state. Okay, so you had a debate between I forgot his name now. You had this sectional and nullification crisis. Now, nullification means that a state is nullifying a federal law. Okay, and so we're going to deal with that a number of times in the future. As we go through, we've already talked about them. Obviously, but in review, and it really went over the tariff of 1828. This was all a huge import on tariffs. Okay, and that tariff made it more expensive for the Southerners. Why would it make it more expensive for the Southerners? Okay, we've answered that multiple times why tariffs did for the Southerners. You should be answering in your head. You should be saying, okay, so tariffs for the Southerners. Tariffs are imported goods. What are imported goods more? So the more manufactured goods, right? So they're importing manufactured goods, which is causing the South to pay more. Okay, that's why they don't like the tariffs. So South Carolina is like, yeah, we're gonna nullify this. We're not even gonna to not collect it. And Jackson threatened to send troops down to South Carolina to enforce the tariff and make sure that the taxes were collected. And they reached a compromise. Now, just the fact that you had the President of the United States of America threatening to send federal troops into a state to enforce a tax. What does that sound like to you? Right? King? Right? That's why they called him King Andrew. Okay? Because some of the things he did were quite king-like. Oh, good job, Mitchell. Yes, King Andrew. If you remember from your book, the image of him sitting on a throne, with the Constitution underneath his feet and the Bill of Rights and all that stuff. Yes, Alex, good job. So it was, and so they disbanded the convention. So crisis averted. Not going to have a full scale, revolt or anything like that. So hold on. Let me make sure we got everything. Thank you for joining us, Hunter. You're right, Yuri. So he helped develop the two-party system, and he campaigned, specifically to the common man, which brought everybody, felt like they had a voice in the government, and they would come and vote. And so, in that way, he was very positive in those ways. Oh yeah, this is where I put the percentage in there. So by 1840, 78% turned out for the election. 78% of people who could vote did vote. I think in the last election, I don't even think it was 50%. I think it was below 50%. Right? So in the Battle of New Orleans, that was a Revolutionary War. Good morning, Siona. Good morning. Yeah, so 78%. I think it was yeah, that's a pretty good quote. Battle of New Orleans? Yes, it is 1812. You're right, Daniel. I don't know why I said, because they had already defeated the British and they didn't get the word to him. Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking, because it was against the British. 17th. Again, it's early for me too. It's going to be weird. Yeah, I know. I don't know why I said revolutionary. I'm sorry. It's going to be weird going back to school in August. I'm about to, like, for the 2 or 3 weeks prior, like, get up and get going and, oh, okay, whatever. So, obviously, his record as a politician is not very democratic, like Mitchell pointed out earlier. And it was the Indian Removal Act, Trail of Tears. Remember this whole thing, where the Supreme Court was like, yeah, Cherokees, you're good to go. That was your land. You bought it. You signed a treaty. It's yours. They can't kick you out of it. And then Andrew Jackson was like, oh, okay, well, let's see you enforce it, Supreme Court. And Supreme Court's like, we don't do that. We interpret. You're supposed to enforce what we say. And he's like, but I'm not, right? Get out of it. Get out of the land. And then they had that threat of military action in South Carolina. So he was a dichotomy of, he protected some people while completely going against others, right? I mean, he absolutely detested Native Americans. He believed that they were, the lowest of the low. And so, I don't know. He was just racist. So, I mean, that's just what it was. And, but he did do a lot for the country. That has lasted for a long time. But at the same time, if your negative goods or your negative deeds are that bad, they pretty much overshadow anything good that you have done. So now we have these reform movements, okay, of the time period. Now, you have the Second Great Awakening, you have the temperance movement, and these were really, I'm going to go back and take this off the screen so you guys can focus. Remember the social gospel, individuals could improve themselves and society. So that's what it was. It was Christians around the country being people saying, hey, if you do well, you can improve yourself, you can improve the country. All right. And that's what the Second Great Awakening was. It was people getting more involved in the church having more involvement in everyday lives of Americans, and just being more intertwined into what was going on in the United States. And that led to the temperance movement. Now, temperance, you should be saying in your head, oh, temperance, I remember that. And then you're like, no, I forgot it. Well, temperance, remember temperance/abolitionism, right? It is to temper the consumption of alcohol, all right? And they wanted to eliminate alcohol consumption because it had gotten pretty bad at this point, right? It gets bad again, but it had gotten pretty bad, okay? And people were drinking way too much alcohol. Very good, Mr. Angelov. I don't know if I said that right. I think I did. And really, women saw it as a threat to their family life because remember we talked about Republican motherhood, right? Remember these are all things that you can go back and forth with because of Republican motherhood, meaning that the mothers are put in charge of making sure that their family has the Republican virtues. And so then when you empower them to do that, then they look at other things. They look at alcohol, seeing that this is their fight, their soapbox to stand on, their thing that they need to deal with. All right. Alcohol equals bad. Yes, Navika, absolutely right. And so you have a huge decrease because of it. Now, when you have this temperance movement that is led by women and they succeed in lowering alcohol consumption, it gives them the confidence to say, hey, if we do something, we can get a little bit better. We can actually affect change, right? So that's going to give them confidence for other things, right? What are those other things, Mr. Green? I don't know. Let's wait till the next slide and we'll find out, right? Spencer's, he's over here in anticipation for the answer. He's dead asleep, I think. He's like, he didn't even eat his breakfast today. I don't know. Sometimes he doesn't. We had a long weekend. A lot of work. So I think we should be good there, right? Charles Finney, he's a minister. I didn't mention him. He's the one who really went around and taught all this individual achievements to a greater good, okay? Yeah, they were good. Abolitionism, right? Abolitionists. So, yeah, well, I'm not going to ruin it for you. Frederick Douglass. Remember this guy? Big hair, awesome. Former slave, escapes to the north with a borrowed free man's identification on a train. Gets to the north, teaches himself how to read, writes a book, goes to Europe, doing speeches, raises enough money to buy his freedom, and comes back south and becomes one of the major agitators and leaders of the abolitionist movement, becomes personal friends with Abraham Lincoln. Just an all-around, significant dude, okay? And then William Lloyd Garrison was a newspaper publisher who really went out there for as an abolitionist movement leader. And they had a lot of these anti-slavery societies. He was leader of one of them, and he used his paper to publish these. All right, ideas. Now you have the women's rights movement, and they're encouraged by the abolitionist movement, and then also that temperance movement that pretty succeeded in slowing down the consumption of alcohol. They didn't get rid of it because that's just not going to happen, but it slowed it down. And so they, in 1878, they had Seneca Falls Convention. This is where the end of period 4 is, 1878. That's why they picked that. And this was called the Declaration of Sentiments. Okay. So this was a detailed account of women's rights in America, of what women had the right to do and what they, what rights they had as people. And the cult of domesticity. I always have a problem with that word. And it was a code of conduct and social morals. And it really constricted. It was what people thought of women. When you think of domesticity or domicile or, domestic, it's basically just saying women should stay home. They should take care of the kids. They don't have a career. They don't have a voice. They don't have any of these things that people really subscribe to, this cult of domesticity. And it was hard for women to get above this this place in life, right? They had to prove that they had the capabilities and the abilities to be just like men, because they are, and to be just as creative, to be just as important, to be just as smart. Like we've said it before, Frederick Douglass was a huge women's right advocate, right? Right up until the point that they were going to pass the 15th Amendment. And then he was like, I don't know. And then he didn't. Okay. But yes, Frederick Douglass was a huge women's rights advocate. Okay. He was at the Seneca Falls Convention. So then you have Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott. And they had a big, huge convention and an anti-slavery convention in London where they were going to showcase women's rights. And that's where they were going to try to, I don't know if that's the last one. Yeah. So that's what they were doing. Oh, Stretch. Everybody stretch. Ugh. Okay. That's good. I needed to do that. I did 10 jumping jacks, like I said. It kind of wakes you up, but I'm going back to sleep again. I don't know. Maybe it's because I didn't turn the top light on in my room. A little dark in here. Feels cozy. So African Americans in the early republic. Okay. You in 50 years, look at it. It goes from 1 million black people living in the country to 3.6 million by 1850. All right. And almost, vast majority were living in the South and West. And anybody who freed themselves, escaped, bought their freedom, whatever it was, were never slaves. Those are the people who are really going to help. I mean, obviously you have people like William Lloyd Garrison, and you have a lot of white sympathizers that are helping with the abolitionist movement. But it's definitely mostly, free black people that are helping the abolitionist movement move along, okay? Especially in the early 19th century. Oh. And so, remember, most of the slaves were the South and the West, so you're going to have to group those together, right? And those are going to be the Democrats going forward, right? So just so you remember that. Remember, the Democrats are in the South, Republicans are in the North, okay? WomanCon. Yeah. That's what that was. WomanCon. Next one. And we're good there? This is pretty much, this should all be, in your heads already. And I'm just kind of bringing it out, right? Cotton Kingdom. Okay? So you have these huge plantations that stretch all the way from really southern South Carolina to eastern Texas. Okay? And these, remember, we've talked about it multiple times, and right before the Civil War, Mississippi had more millionaires than the state of New York, right? I mean, the people of these cotton plantations, that's what they called it, white gold. I mean, it was so much money that they were making because they didn't have to pay for labor, right? I mean, in business now, most industries, labor is the number one expenditure. Is getting people to either bring it out of the ground, to manufacture it, to do whatever you want. King Cotton. There you go. Okay. And this was unique. As far as in a lot of places around the world, that it's this single-minded, right? No industrial activity. They didn't like that. They didn't want it because they didn't need it. They're like, why do we want to build things when we can grow this cotton? We don't have to pay anybody to harvest it, right? Very little labor prices, and we can just make tons and tons of money, right? So they're not interested in the industrialization like the North is. That's why they're behind, which is good, because if they were industrialized and had this much money, they would not have lost the Civil War. No way. But because they weren't industrialized, didn't have the railroads, didn't have all those things, all they were worried about was growing cotton and shipping it. A lot of pillows. That's right. You're not killing anybody with pillows. I mean, you'd have to hit somebody really hard a bunch of times to kill them with a pillow, and I still don't think it would happen. But they had New Orleans and Charleston, right? And what were New Orleans and Charleston? Say it in your head. What would they be known for at this time period? Mr. Green, I don't know, man. Like, it's kind of early, so I'm not really sure what New Orleans and Charleston is all about. You should know. New Orleans on the port cities. Ding, ding, ding. Good job, Mitchell. You didn't have to type a thing, but you should be saying it in your head. Okay? But they're the only thing that they're focusing on is just shipping all the cotton that they're growing in the South to international markets, right? So the only big cities that they do have are port cities because they're shipping the cotton, right? So everything is cotton, everything. Okay? It was, I don't understand what you're saying, Hunter. Although I still never understood why they didn't industrialize if they still wouldn't have to pay for labor. Well, because they didn't need to industrialize, right? I mean, it's like if you were getting, an A in this class without doing any of the work, right? If you could just do like one type of the work and you could do it and get an A, why would you do the other stuff? Most people wouldn't. They'd be like, they look for the easy way. You'd be like, oh, well, I don't need to do that. I'm getting an A already, right? I don't need to do the test. All I need to do is get really good grades. I mean, that's not going to happen. But all right, I'll see you, man. Yeah, I mean, they're making so much money. They don't want to branch out and do different things. Would you industrialize or buy China? I don't know. I'm thinking to myself, I hear all these people saying things. Like, one thing I think would be kind of cool is if we just, if we finally did something and stopped buying as much things from China and industrialized here, made it more manufacturing here, out of this whole thing. I don't know. It'd be kind of a positive, I guess. So the South was staying the same, between 1800 and 1850. All right, Navika, I'll see you. Miss Horn, what does she teach? I don't even know who that is. Is it weird that she's having class? So the North was transforming. They were becoming industrial. The South is like, nah, we're gonna, oh, everybody's having class today. All right, I'll see you, Yuri. And we only have one more slide left, so you're not gonna miss much. Oh, Haran. I was like, Miss Horn. So the one thing you have left is, they're transforming. The South is staying the same. Okay. So 6 things to know. The U.S. continued to develop its own democratic ideals, sparking debates about the role of federal government and leading to the formation of various political parties. That's one of them. All right. I'm not going to read all these to you. But the Supreme Court established the principle that federal laws take precedence over state laws. Right. You should be telling yourself, what are those 2 cases? I'm not going to tell you. You should know. We've already talked about them like twice. And we have this national culture, especially after the War of 1812, that we kind of get together, right? We're like, yay! And we're going to focus on ourselves. Sorry. Excuse me. Yawning. And we had an economic and technological revolution, mostly in the North, though, okay? But you have the cotton gin, the steam engine. Remember the steam engine, so people can go up the Mississippi River, and factories. Then you have the invention of the railroads and that expansion, rapid expansion. And then also canals. Canals before railroads, because once railroads take off, canals are like, we don't need those. We can go a lot faster on a railroad. Now, Louisiana Purchase started expanding westward. Obviously, that's going to bring us into conflict with more Native Americans, with Mexico. And, as we move west, we're going to encounter these things. And then also we have what we're going to do about slavery, as far as expanding into these new states. That's why Henry Clay, his big thing, the first thing, that Missouri Compromise. Remember, Missouri wants to enter as a slave state. Everybody's like, this isn't the Kansas-Nebraska Act. Remember, this is Missouri Compromise. Missouri wants to enter as a slave state, but they have that balance in which part of Congress? The Senate, right? And they have the balance of power in the Senate, so that way you have the slave and the free states are have the same amount of power, the same amount of seats, because remember, that's even. And so that way you can't pass things through, because you have Congress, and that's different when you have the House of Representatives. But in the Senate, it's all equal. So if you put Missouri in as a slave state, then the slave states would have that majority in the Senate. Now, Henry Clay says, oh, well, we'll bring in Maine at the same time and keep that balance of power. Okay? That's key. All right? So that's all you need to know for period 4, right? So again, make sure you check Google Classroom. You complete the DBQ worksheet by Wednesday. Go ahead and do it today. fresh in your mind. Period 4. I would write out that DBQ as well as do the worksheet. But that's me. You only have to do the worksheet. I'm not going to grade the DBQ, but I would write it out as practice. Right? That's all you're doing is practicing. Practice, practice, practice. Just like a sport. If you're in a sport, you're practicing for the big game. That's all you're doing. You're practicing for the big exam in the end. So you need to make sure that you're doing everything you can to accomplish that. Right? So unless anybody has any questions, yeah, if when you were typing in the AP classroom, it gave you a 1,000-word count as the maximum. I believe there was a maximum of 1,000 words. Okay, so I would keep it around there. Definitely under 1,000. It doesn't need to be that long. Again, you need to go on Google Classroom. Oh, 10,000. Oh, yeah. You need to go on Google Classroom. Yeah, it doesn't need to be that long. Okay. I posted two things. I posted one from AP from College Board on what a good DBQ looked like, and then there's another one I just posted last night that it's this one, example 10 out of 10. I know you can see that on the screen right now. All right, it'll focus here in a second, hopefully. This is a 10 out of 10, okay? And it gives you everything that you need to know. Allison, they're going to give us something here pretty soon. I'm thinking tomorrow is when it's going to go live, and they're going to give us a like a practice one, so you can do it. They're going to send you a ticket, like the same thing. It's not going to have the same security protocols that you're going to have to go through the day of the exam, but as far as like uploading, writing, and so what it's going to be is there's going to be a timer that it's going to go for 45 minutes, and then at 5 minutes left, it's going to go to red, and then it's going to be like, hey, you need to start uploading. And then that's when you have to start uploading, because you have to at least get it started before the end of it. And so that's why I'm saying I would, the one I just assigned, I would do the DBQ worksheet, or I would just look at it fresh and try and write it in 45 minutes, right? And see if you can do it. Do it fresh, and then just write out a DBQ worksheet afterwards, right? And then that's all you have to submit to me, and then you're good, okay? So, yeah. Any other questions? Oops. Move that. No more questions? We good? Good to go for the week. I posted a schedule up for the week, so make sure you're looking at that. How many more DBQs? Like full written ones? I don't know. I probably won't do another full written one. But those DBQ worksheets, you work it out, and then you just have to, connect everything. So, yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah. So, I will see you guys tomorrow morning. And you guys have a great day. If you have questions, email me, message me, whatever it is. Or if you have questions about those assignments, post those on Google Classroom so that way other people can see them. And then when I answer them, everybody can see the answers. Okay. Oh, I won't forget Spencer. Oh, Spencer, you want to come up? I do have I forgot I have a treat for him up here. Spencer, you want a treat? Come here. Spencer. He's asleep. Spencer. You want a treat? Come on. Come here. Come here. Come here. Ugh. He doesn't want to get up. Come on. Come on. Come here. Oh, come here. I know, buddy. He's like, not again. Oops. Put your feet there. Look, 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 look. Oops. You want another one? You want another one? I got a couple up here. Okay, one more. Doggy ASMR. Okay. There you go. They all say hi. He's like, hi. All right, guys. Have a great day, everybody. And we'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.